There are two orders. There is an order by a system, how the system works. So there's an internal order that is the internal governance system, and it's usually set out in a constitution or some agreements. And then there's the world order, how the world system. So, for example, in 1945, at the end of a war, which is basically a fight for determining the world order, the winners of the fight got together and created the world system as we now know it. 44, they created the Bretton Woods monetary system that determined the money, pretty much. And because the United States won and had 80% of the world's money, gold was money then, and it has 80% of the world's gold, and it was half the world's economy, and it was the great military power. The order was built around an American world order, so that the United Nations was in New York, the World Bank and the IMF were in Washington, and they built that new order. So classically, you have a war to determine whose rules we're following, and then you have the new order being constructed. After that, there is usually a period of extended peace and prosperity, since really 1500, and maybe before, but really 1500 when the Dutch invented capitalism. And what I mean by that, they invented the first capital markets, the first stocks and the first stock market. That since then, capitalism has been an effective tool for building wealth because it got resources into the hands of inventive people. That's when we moved from agriculture to the importance of inventiveness of people. They got resources, and then they built that prosperity. In that process of doing that, they create wealth gaps naturally. Those who make a lot of money make a lot more than those that don't. And it also produces opportunity gaps because, for example, those who earn a lot of money, have that wealth, they have the power to educate their children in a way that others don't. And the gaps grow. And also the debts grow. Invented ships that could go around the world, and they had military power, but they were also a very inventive society. 25% of the world's new inventions came from the Dutch. And so as they went around the world, they also brought their currency, and they brought their military. They needed the currency, they paid for things, and that currency, and then the more that happens, the more that becomes a reserve currency. And then they have their military, so they need their military strength. And so you see it evolve in all of those ways. But over a period of time, as they become more successful and more expensive, they become more expensive. And newer countries come along, like the UK, then learn to build ships from the Dutch, and could do that less expensively. And also when they become more expensive, so less competitive, and also the work ethic begins to change. They believe that since they're richer, they can enjoy life more. They don't have to work quite as hard. And so you start to see the tilt. You start to see the development of the top. And when you have a world reserve currency, that allows you to borrow a lot of money, because those who want to save want to hold your money, and that means that they'll lend you money. And so those countries get deeper into debt.
You've had a few opinions about Bitcoin over the years. What are your thoughts about Bitcoin today? Its role in the global financial system and just in human society in general?
Well, the evolution of Bitcoin over the years is one of the things that has influenced changes in my view. It has proven itself something like 10, 11 years ago. Imagine the programming of this, and you throw it out, and that's the idea. It has not been hacked. It has operated. It is built. It has come an amazing way over that 11 years to be maybe probably the most excited topic among a lot of people, and has been used and is now has obtained, the status of having imputed value. At the same time, it is one of those assets that is an alternative money. I think we're entering an era where there's going to be a competition of monies. Because of the printing of fiat money and the depreciated value, there will be a competition of monies. And Bitcoin is part of that competition. But there'll be many monies, not just crypto monies, but there'll be central bank crypto monies. But there'll be different kinds of monies. But like all new real things, some are going to go and some are going to, it's like in the internet in the year 2000, pets.com could have been but maybe pets.com doesn't make it, and who knows. That's the beauty of the competitive system, that it'll evolve and some things will be treasured and some things will be trashed. So, but when I look at it, I think we are in an environment of, what is an alternative money. A money has two purposes: a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth. And we are looking for, and it's portable, and it's best if it's recognized in other countries. So gold is one of those. So I look at it as an alternative gold, and gold is still my favorite because of certain qualities. For example, you can't trace it. In Bitcoin, you can trace who owns it, where it's going, and so on. Governments can have that ability to trace it and so on. A gold piece of coin, it's not connected. I think not connected has benefits, particularly in a world where maybe connections can be more risky. And then also gold has been, for many thousands of years, universally recognized as a source of money. And central banks, it's the third largest source of money in central bank reserves. And I don't think Bitcoin is going to serve those types of purposes and so on. So for various reasons, I prefer gold to the other, but it's a little bit part of my mix.
Do you think it's possible it reaches very high numbers, like 1 million, as some people talk about?
I don't think that's possible, because the way I look at it is there's a certain amount of gold. I'll use gold as a benchmark. The amount of it is worth about $1 trillion. Total crypto is about 2.2 trillion. But let's say Bitcoin, it's $1 trillion. If you take the amount of money that is in gold that is not used for jewelry purposes and not used by central banks, and I assume Bitcoin won't be used for jewelry purposes or central bank purposes, that amount in gold is about $5 trillion. So right now, if you were to have a portfolio that has gold and crypto, gold and Bitcoin, it's worth about 20% of the value of gold. Do I think it's going to be worth more than gold in terms of that mix? I don't think it'll be worth more than gold, but let's say it became worth as much as gold. I don't believe it will be. I think that 20% sounds kind of about right. I really don't know what the right answer is. And then there's the question of what is all of that pool of money, that, let's say, gold and gold equivalents relative to everything else. Does it go from, let's call it 6, 7, 8 trillion to 16 trillion? Maybe it could double. It depends what it is in the world environment. But basically, if you use gold as a measure, it just makes no sense that it's going to be used that much more. Am I sure about that? I'm not sure about anything. But logically, it seems to me that there's a limitation on its price in relationship to other things that are like it.
That's it guys from here today. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button and do subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching guys. I hope you all have a good day.